gang, Ronan here, and as you can see, it's time for another adventure in World of Warships. As you can see, in this game I am playing the Tier 7 Premium Imperial Japanese Navy Destroyer Yūdachi. Now this is a ship I have featured a little bit. I've got this video, and then I think I'll probably put together another one just as a short, because there are only a couple of really small things that I want to highlight from the other video. This was a really fun game to play. Why was it a fun game to play? Well, for starters, my team all grouped up, which you'll see. The majority of my team ends up running up the west side of the map. It is really something. I'm sure you've seen it before. We've all seen it before. It's never, at least in my experience, a kind of a warm, fuzzy feeling to see your team group up and all kind of lemming train into any particular area on the map. Now, sometimes it can work. Sometimes it can work really well. It can be extremely effective. And in this case, it worked out okay, but more often than not, at least in my experience, it ends really badly. So as we take a look at the mini-map right now, you've got myself out here. Well, I spawned here. So this is, if you've watched my videos at all, you know wherever I spawn, that's where I try to make myself useful. T-22 is crossing from the center. Gokasa is crossing from the center. Scharnhorst, New York, Warspite. All of them are heading this way, which is going to leave the other side with Nuremberg, Gneisenau, Wutsu, and Farragut. And you would think, okay, the far side where the Farragut is at right now, you can see them out there at Delta 8. They should be setting themselves up to kite, to basically hold whatever push might come on that side, while this side pushes ahead, focuses fire, and blaps one thing after another. I'll leave it to you in the comments below to tell me what you think of the effectiveness of both flanks. And I'd also love to hear what you think about my gameplay. I threw those torpedoes out there hoping Hatsuharu was going to turn around, which you never know, but I'm hoping because of the range on these torpedoes I might catch him. You can see he's already starting to turn. Now, what can I tell you about the Yūdachi? Well, if you are unfamiliar, the guns are 127s. You've got 5 of them. You've got 2 double turrets and 1 single. And the base reload is 9 seconds. The 180-degree turn time on these turrets, 30 seconds. So it's kind of battleship turret traverse. And I really, really recommend anyone who picks this up. And I do actually catch the Hatsuharu there, which I felt really good about. I was tempted to hold him to try to get the battleships, but it worked out. It worked out great. Now, take a look at our T-22. He's at Gulf 4 right now, and it's not looking good for him. I'll just say that. I've got 22 seconds till my torps are back up. I've already used my torp reload booster, so I just kind of have to sit and watch while he gets himself chewed to pieces. So the shells, again, on these guns, the HE does a max of 2150 HP of damage with a 9% fire chance. That turret traverse, if you ever pick up this ship, I really, really recommend that you do all you can to increase that turret traverse, because even when you do, getting turrets on target if you're turning your ship can be really challenging because of the super slow turret traverse. Firing range base is 11.81 kilometers. Not too bad, really, when you've got a 6.1 detection radius. But if you run into something that's really stealthy, you're going to find yourself in situations where the destroyer may have upwards of half a kilometer of spotting advantage. The AP shells, well, they do a max damage of 2200, not really that different from the max of the HE shells, only 50 HP of damage. you're not often going to use the AP shells. In my experience, you're not going to get too many chances to do that. And since they're only 127s, why would you? Because they don't have really any pen. Now, the torpedoes, this is where the strength of the ship is, at least in my opinion. They are 610 millimeter torpedoes. You can see you've got multiple racks you can throw out at one time. And what that allows you to do is kind of flood an area, because you've got the 2 torpedo racks, but you also have the reload booster. And I'm wondering if I'm going to put one on the nose of the Fuso. No. But I do catch him on the side, and he does flood. If you were unaware, if you hit somebody in the nose of their ship, the chances of flooding are much higher than they are on the side of the ship. And so that's why I was hoping to catch him on the nose, but it turned out okay anyway. He did flood. Now I have to hope my teammates will get him burning, since he used his damages. So you've got 2 racks, 4 torpedoes per rack, and you've got a reload booster, which means you could put a total of 16 torpedoes in the water in a matter of very few seconds. The reload booster allows you to get another set out, which can cover an area really, really effectively with torpedoes. Now, they're not fast. They run at 64 knots, but they hit really hard. The maximum damage is 15,633, which for a Tier 7 destroyer, I feel like is really good. And you can see their Nicholas there, and he hangs on really till the very end of the game. He plays reasonably well, at least in my opinion. And you can see my teammates are going to work on those battleships back there. Thus far, ignoring the Nicholas, and I think that's probably smart, because the Nicholas torpedoes don't have any range, right? So there's not a whole lot to worry about there. Now I'm feeling pretty good about the game as it stands right now. We're up on points. It's 422 to 298. The red team has secured the Charlie Cap, and they have their Mahan pushing into the Delta Cap. Now take a look. Remember when I mentioned earlier, everybody on this side kind of all grouped up. Everybody in the middle came this way. So we've got most of our ships right now in 2 squares, right? In fact, there's so many in one small spot here that you can't even read them on the minimap. Gneisenau and Mutsu on the other side are being chased by 2 Scharnhorst 43s. I'm sure their secondaries are just doing some heavy lifting on that side. Mutsu has a torp, the Gneisenau has torps. So the Scharnhorst 43 that is immediately behind them on that side, well, he may find himself in trouble, but maybe not. You know, he's just nose into them. He may be able to evade whatever they may be throwing out behind them, as our Warspite, played by Grey Ghost 23, does finish off the New Mexico. That leaves only the Fuso out there. And right now, it's 3 ships down for the green team, 3 ships down for the red team, and I'm really hoping to catch Fuso with another torpedo. You can see that set just sailed harmlessly by. He's angled a little bit, and I've decided I need to get out. I have to try and get out here and catch this Mahan. Otherwise, he's going to be behind our Ranger and our New York. And the way that my team is playing, I'm concerned, as Joe Flower and the Mutsu gets taken out by the Pensacola, I'm concerned that Mahan might just start shredding our New York and Ranger. Mutsu does torpedo the Scharnhorst, nicely done. But that leaves only our Gneisenau out there against Hobart, Pensacola, a Scharnhorst 43, and the Mahan, who may not chase the New York. He may try and help with Gneisenau. Now, my guess is he's not going to help with Gneisenau, because Gneisenau's so low on HP, he's going to count on his teammates to do it. And I'm right. You can take a look at the radio location indicator that's telling me the Mahan is in that pie-shaped wedge there somewhere on the minimap. And I saw him briefly. I know he's really close, so I'm going to throw it in reverse. I just want to try and secure the cap before I make myself visible. And then I've got to get out here and do what I can to try and finish him off. Now I've got the cap. I've got to get out here. The rear guns are kind of the strength of this thing. You got 1 extra gun back there. On the nose of the ship, you've only got 2 barrels. So I have to angle my ship to get more than those 2 barrels on the Mahan, and he really outguns me. So I need to push forward here a little bit more before I open up so that I can use all my guns. I have to be aware that he has torpedoes, got to angle accordingly, and be able to use my throttle to juke shells and or torpedoes. So I was about to be detected anyway. Go ahead and open up with the guns. I land just a couple of the shells there, but I do manage to start a fire, and he's letting it burn. A couple more hits. You can see I put the brakes on. Now I'm accelerating again. I'm just trying to avoid taking damage and seeing whether I can get him finished off. Take out his engine, and I'm thinking this probably should do the trick. You can see I'm not accelerating. I don't want to run into torpedoes. It's disappointing that I didn't finish them, but I think it's pretty much a sure thing here as I hit the speed boost to try and outrun shells from Pensacola and our Hobart. And now I've got to work on the Delta Cap. Now take a look behind my ship on the minimap. We've got Scharnhorst, it's both now on the port side, Scharnhorst and New York. And I thought, okay, great. I'm going to have some help over here. So I really kind of allowed myself to focus almost entirely ahead of where I'm at right now. I saw the Pensacola there. I know Hobart was last seen over there at Echo 7, Echo 8, somewhere in that ballpark. There's also a Scharnhorst out here. And I'm thinking, okay, what do I need to be paying attention to? I'm calling for shots on Pensacola. You can see the Scharnhorst out there. And also Hobart is here somewhere. And I'm feeling pretty good. I know I can see Scharnhorst is going to be able to get shells on these guys. New York's going to be able to get shells on these guys. What I didn't count on was both of them continuing to move north. You can see Hobart has run across the Charlie Cap at Echo 6. And that's going to draw the attention of the Scharnhorst and the New York as I get torpedoes out ahead of the red Scharnhorst in an effort to try and slow him down. Now I'm kind of becoming aware that my Scharnhorst 43 has abandoned this position, and I'm kind of on my own here. Now I've used the reload booster for my torpedoes, thinking I was going to put him out ahead of Scharnhorst and that he was going to have to negotiate not just my torpedoes, but a New York and a Scharnhorst, but no, he doesn't have to. So now our Scharnhorst 43 and our New York are squared off against Hobart and the Arizona that just pushed into the cap, still with full HP. Now we are down 6 ships. The red team is down 6 ships. We have a commanding points lead, but I'm out here by myself. I'm going to try and secure this cap, but I'm facing off with Pensacola and Scharnhorst, which, with 10,399 HP, either one of them could one-shot me. As Scharnhorst pushes into the cap, there's no way I can cap it from here, so I'm going to go ahead and fall back. I don't want to get detected here, but look, here come the aircraft. Independence has decided, you know what, I'm going to go help these guys. I don't want that destroyer to get the cap. Pensacola keeps pushing right at me as I was trying to get away. I had to slow down in order to make use of my smoke. I'm just going to try and do some ship damage. Pensacola did me a big favor by firing there. Now I have to be aware Scharnhorst has torpedoes behind me. You can see that's what I'm angled to. And I do land a torpedo on Scharnhorst. Maybe I get lucky and land another one. He's flooding. That's 2 torpedoes in the Scharnhorst, and I've got Pensacola burning. I have 32 seconds until my torpedoes come back up, and I've got a Pensacola at range 3.5. That's just outside of my detectability range firing these guns at smoke, and Ranger helps me out. Now I'm detected because there are aircraft over me, so I have to try and survive this onslaught from the Scharnhorst, and there's no way that I'm going to not be spotted unless I move back into the smoke. And he's focused on keeping me lit up. So he puts a fighter down, and I guess after the fighter he goes down, he decides, you know what, I can go ahead and make my bomb run. Fortunately for me, he misses, and I'm determined right now to get back to my smoke. The AA on this ship, as is true for pretty much all of the Japanese destroyers, is pathetic. Roughly equivalent to a couple of guys standing on the foredeck with handguns. Not going to be effective. If I can get to this smoke, I feel like I've got a chance. I use the speed boost because I want to avoid any potential torpedo strike from Scharnhorst and the aircraft that I see coming in. And now I just have to survive Speed will help me to outrun his turret traverse. There are his torpedoes. Now I have to try and maneuver between these torpedoes. I just have to get out ahead of them now. I do finish off the Scharnhorst. Now I'm going to try to get back to the cap while avoiding the almost certain second run from the torpedoes that are now behind my ship. And looky there. Now this game right now is looking pretty good for us. The score is pretty close, 632 to 648, but we've got 2 caps. The red team has 2 caps. They're down to 2 ships. Now I think this Indianapolis, probably where I dropped all my torpedoes not long ago, feels pretty confident. And you can see what I was talking about there as far as turning my ship. It's really hard to get the guns on target, even though I have expected to be able to have better rotation. And I'm just trying to distract him. He's trying to get behind this rock because he's got Scharnhorst pushing in. And the Scharnhorst may be a bigger concern for him right now than I am. The fact that I'm using my guns tells him torpedoes probably aren't ready. And I think he's thinking, well, if I can get turned around and keep the rock between myself and Scharnhorst, I'll probably be okay. But unfortunately for him, my torpedoes are back up. I catch him basically broadside to me. There's no way he's going to turn that thing in time. A little bit more chip damage. He did manage to get himself between the rock and the damage from there. To get the rock between himself and the Scharnhorst takes a little damage there, and then the torpedoes finish him off as I pick up the Confederate. And, you know, I'm feeling pretty good about the performance in this game. Yes, it's 4 kills, 127,350 damage. Now I have to admit, I'm greedy for Kraken Unleashed. Scharnhorst manages to survive that onslaught as the rest of our team, the 2 Warspites and the New York, all begin to push into the Charlie Cap. And this game really is all over but the shouting. If you don't have this ship, but you're considering a premium Japanese ship, and you like destroyer play, although I've seen a number of videos that kind of pan this thing. I mean, it's not great, but it is fun. It's fun to play. And 15 kilometers range on these torpedoes can really allow you to land some torpedoes in places where at this tier, a lot of people will not expect. Now, granted, top tier in this game, but I've also had some good games in this ship when I was bottom tier. And I can tell you from some experience that this ship in this game can be very effective if played reasonably well. Now, at this point, I'm just trying to finish off and pick up the Kraken Unleashed. Nicholas, he was in the game all the way to the end, crossed the entire map trying to do what he could. Good game to him. So let's take a look at the numbers. 129,878 damage, 55 shell hits, 10 torpedoes landed. Feel really good about that. A couple of incapacitations. Did pick up 5 kills, set 3 fires, 4 floods, captured and assisted in a capture, and spotted 4 red ships. Picked up a few awards, got double strikes, Confederate, Kraken Unleashed, and First Blood. 813,000 credits, not too shabby for a Tier 7 premium. Yeah, pretty strong. Take a look at the team score. I did manage to top the scoreboard with 2,506 base XP. Tip of the hat to Scharnhorst and both the Warspites, and also on the red team, the Mahan and Scharnhorsts all played fairly well. This wasn't what I would call a really long game, but they they were at least effective for their team. Feel a little bad for the Mahan, the way that he got caught there at the very end. You can see damage was spread out a little bit. Scharnhorst 43. Independence, of course, you saw that blappage at the end. Hatsuharu got lucky there at the very beginning. Mahan with the guns. Took me, 5, 6 salvos, but I did manage to finish him off. Nicholas at the very end to finish the game. A little bit of damage on Congo with the torpedo. And also Fuso, Arizona, and Pensacola. Main battery, as I mentioned, 55 shells landed for 23,007. Picked up a little bit of fire damage, 10 torpedo hits, feel really good about that. And just a nub of flood, but it was enough. 314,000 potential damage. Overall, I feel like I played reasonably well. I'd love to hear your thoughts, decent XP and credits. Thanks a lot for joining me. I really